And that's what our inner circle can really do for us in our careers. They can help us to believe more, see more, and want to achieve more for our careers. And so it's important for us to align with people that have similar goals or with people that have already achieved something that we want to accomplish.
Hey friends, it's Mary, and this is the Mary Jervich Show, a podcast that champions today's working women to gain the clarity, confidence, and courage to uplevel your career while strengthening your faith and living your dream life, all in record time. We'll cover topics like career advancement, leadership, personal development, faith, and health and wellness, so you can intentionally create a career and life full of more abundance, joy, and love. Let's get started.
Hey friends, welcome on in to this episode of the Mary Jervich Show. I am so excited that you're joining me here today. I hope that your year is off to a great start, but I have to be honest, we're a couple weeks in now, and by this time, most people have already given up on their New Year's resolutions. Now, I know that you set some goals, and we did that together a few weeks ago, and so I hope that you are off on a much better start because you've broken down your goals and you're moving things forward. But in today's episode, I want to talk about one of the things that is often overlooked, and it's the relational impact, our inner circle, and how it impacts our careers and really every single part of our lives, and what we can do to build stronger inner circles so we can achieve the things that we really want to do. There's been a couple instances that have come up recently that made me want to talk about this topic, but it's so important that I've included it in my book. So my book that came out last March, God's Not Done With You, How to Advance Your Career and Live in Abundance, I've dedicated an entire chapter to this topic because it is that important that the people around us have such a great effect on our abilities, on our beliefs, and on our willingness to take the next steps in our careers. And so I want to share this message with you today. You may be thinking, Mary, are you going to have guests on the show again? And yes, we will be having guests. We have some amazing guests lined up for this year. Very excited. I'm actually tremendously excited for the guest that you are going to get to meet next week. We have a guest coming in. She has a wonderful topic, so definitely tune in. You do not want to miss it. So much value coming up. But today, I want to focus on the relationships and really what we can call our inner circle. And that's really the 5 people that you spend the most time with. But it just doesn't have to be those 5 people. So my son, over the holiday, he was in this flag football tournament. He got invited by another young football player to come and be in this tournament. And it was an exciting time. And actually, we hadn't played flag football in a couple of years. And this was the most competitive flag football that I'd seen. So it was really exciting to see and have the opportunity to be outside. I live in San Antonio. It was nice and warm. So that was wonderful, getting to see some old friends and really get to watch my son enjoy this time and play some football. But what I noticed was these kids are at a different level. They are fast. They are skilled. And he is 7 years old. And here we are just realizing the skills and the abilities of other kids. And, it's interesting because there were kids there from all different age groups. And as they went up, you could just see how they incrementally got better, stronger, faster, all of the things. And, this was very encouraging to me because we've had a little bit of a difficult time because our son is so young to really find competitive situations for him to be in. And this was it. This was that competitive situation where people were faster than him, some were stronger, some were taller, and definitely more skilled. And being in this environment actually pushed him to want to excel and learn new skills and new ways of doing things. He had just come off of a tackle football season, and so being with this group of kids was completely different. And I want to share this with you because it's so important for us to just remember the people that we are around are going to influence our beliefs and our behaviors. And because my son was around these boys, and this was just a 2-day tournament that he was in, but it showed him a whole new world. It showed my husband and I a whole new world of what is out there and available. And because now we know that this exists, it's an opportunity that he's going to get to take part in the future. He'll get to be part of these teams. And he is seeing, because here's the thing, whenever my son runs, he's really fast. His dad was really fast. He set records when he lived in New Orleans as a kid. Really fast. He's a fast kid. He likes to be the first one, but this interesting thing happened at practice. So a couple weeks ago, this is when he was playing tackle football, but there was one practice and he was normally the first kid winning like every single race. And this is at the end of practice. He's the fastest sprinter after a full practice where he went full out. And it was so interesting because there was this one practice and the older boys were running with them. And of course, the first time, he was running so fast and he wasn't quite the first one because there were the bigger, older boys with the much longer legs running. And then we got to, they do multiple sprints, sprint after sprint after sprint after sprint. And there was a point in time where he was like walking and I had never seen him walk. And as his mom, I want him to always do his best. And I'm like, what is going on? Because he's never walked. He's always ran full out and just like won every single one. And it's not that he needed to win because there's no real winning in this racing, but I was like, what happened? And he's like, well, these bigger boys were here and it was harder. It was harder. I had to run faster. And so I didn't have enough time to rest in between because I was going so fast and I needed more time to recover. The point of that is because those boys were there and had he been timing it, he was likely running faster during those sprints than he was with the ones with his team alone, all because he had somebody else there. And that's what our inner circle can really do for us in our careers. They can help us to believe more, see more, and want to achieve more for our careers. And so it's important for us to align with people that have similar goals or with people that have already achieved something that we want to accomplish. Because when we are with people that have done more, we can believe more for ourselves because they're going to believe more for us too. I know before I was an executive, I'm not sure if I would have just had this belief that, it would be capable for certain people to become executives. But now I know what it takes. I know how you really get to those positions and what it really means to be in an executive position and what's required in that position. And so I'm much better and much more able to see people in that position. And that's why I think when you're looking for a career coach or a community, you want to be in a community with like-minded people, but you also want to be there with successful people and people that have done more than you, at least the leader of that organization. You want someone there that has gone further than you have, because when you surround yourself with people like this, then you are going to be encouraged. You are going to believe and want more for yourself too. And in the Bible, God tells us several things in the Bible about the inner circle. Several things he says. But one of the things that we need to know is God tells us to guard our heart. And this is one of the most important things. In Proverbs 4:23, he expresses how important it is for us to guard our hearts. And to guard our hearts, it really means to protect it from outside influences. So what happens is whenever we hear something, maybe somebody says something about us, when we internally believe this in our heart, it now becomes a belief. It now becomes a stored memory. It now becomes something that we operate from. And we don't want to be storing things that are negative in our heart. So if we're around people that are negative, around people that have not as much belief as us, if we're around people, it could be not as faithful as you are. And it's not that them not being faithful is bad. It's not that we shouldn't be around them. But in the Bible, God tells us, bad company ruins good morals. And so we just want to think about the people that we're around. Are they negative? When we walk away from people, have they put us down? Do we feel better about ourselves? Do we feel more able to accomplish our goals? Or do we feel worse about ourselves? Do we feel like people don't really get us? We can't really share our successes because others are going to put us down or make fun of us or just be like, oh, I don't know how you're going to do that. And just this really negative attitude. And when you are changing and when you are trying to do different things, it's normal for others around you that are not on that same path to not really understand and almost fear the change that you're making in a way that they don't want you to change. And so if you're really trying to reach big goals or go to the next step, it can be hard because others may not be understanding what you're doing. And so I just want to encourage you to get into a group. I know we're going to be opening up in February our leadership circles for women. women. So if you are looking and you are interested in that, you can check out our website. We'll link to it in the bio, but you can come in every week and you can get new leadership lessons. You can be around other women that want to be successful, or perhaps you want to advance in your career. That's one of your goals. We're going to be having an upcoming webinar where I'm going to be talking about the shortcuts to a career advancement. I'm going to be revealing some secret shortcuts that you can take to advance in your career. And if you are thinking like, man, I need to be around some other women that are going in this direction, then I just want to invite you to come to that. So we will get a registration link for you so you can sign up to come to that. That'll be coming up shortly. But the key is just for us to be connected to others that are going in the same direction. And now you may be saying, hey, Mary, well, like, how do I just remove myself from like these negative people? And what if they're my family, right? And it's not that we have to, be mean to them. We don't have to put them down, and we shouldn't be. And it's not that you can't be around them sometimes, but they just don't want to be the people that you hang out with the most. We don't want to, as God says in the Bible, we don't want to throw our pearls to the pigs. We don't want to just be sharing things with them if they're going to just trample all over them, make our belief go down, and if we feel worse about ourselves. That is not going to help anything. Studies actually show that the 5 people that you spend the most time with, the average of those 5 people's salaries is your salary. So you want to think about those that you are spending the most time with, the groups that you're in, and how you can up level yourself. And this is not only for us to have success or to run faster like my son, but it's also for us to be spiritually grounded. And so you may have different groups of people that you hang out with, and you talk to them about different groups of types of things, and that is okay. I know the other day I was having a pretty down day, and that's not typical. And I was like, man, I don't feel good. I don't feel motivated. I kind of feel a little depressed. And this isn't normal. It's not normally this optimistic, outgoing, let me be as productive as possible type of person on fire. But I was having this down day. And that day we had a prayer meeting at church, and I'm part of our prayer team. And, I really didn't want to go to that meeting because I really just wanted to lay in my bed and, not really do anything. That was how my body was feeling. And I know that's probably just like a chemical reaction in my body. It's not actually who I am and what I desire, but that's what my body was telling me that day, is you just want to lay in your bed. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to take myself to church, because nothing bad is going to happen out of going to church and going to the prayer meeting and having a time where we are all praying. We're getting ready for our 21 days of prayer and fasting at church, hearing the pastor, having some worship. And I have to tell you, it was incredible, the transformation I had from the time I walked in. And when I got there, I'm just gonna be real honest with you, I sat in my car for a few minutes. I'm like, I'm just going to sit here for a few minutes. And then I'm like, okay, got to go in now. And I went in and I sat in the back, and I had my journal with me and my Bible and everything. And, he told us to start praying, and we were going through different things. And I just started writing to God. I just started praying and writing to him and just kind of sharing what was on my heart. And my word this year is prayer. And I was just sharing with him and just telling him, how I was feeling, but that I was his. And I knew I didn't need to feel this way, right? Because he was with me. And I just kept reminding myself of this. And it was remarkable. It was, I don't even know, like 5 minutes later, I felt like this huge weight lifted off of me. All of that like depression I was feeling, I wasn't really feeling anxious, but this gloom cloud I felt like I had over me for the day. And maybe it's because the kids went back to school and I was missing them. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, it like lifted from me and it was gone. And here I was with this group of people. We were deep in prayer and worship, and we were thinking about the things we need prayer for. And we were asking God to come in for us and to tell us what he wants us to fast for. And we were thinking about the people in our church and in our community and what the fasting means. And we were praying for them. And it was just such an incredible experience that just transformed. And so if it wasn't for this community though, if it wasn't for this inner circle, this prayer team that I get to be a part of, then I know that I wouldn't have experienced that. Now, sure, I could have went to another group of friends. And so it doesn't mean that you have to be on a prayer team to experience this. But the key is that you have to have a group of people like that. You have to have a community that you can go to, that you're a part of, whether it's for your career goals, whether it's for your spiritual goals. But it's just so vitally important that we have a circle of people that are going in the same direction we are, because those are the people that we can share with. We can share what our goals are. We can share share the things we're feeling, and they're going to encourage us in an aligning way. They are going to help us see the positive. They're going to help us figure out that next step. They're going to believe in us when we're not believing in ourselves. And when we surround ourselves with these right relationships, we're going to feel better more of the time. And that's going to allow us to keep the commitments we make to ourselves. That's where confidence really comes from. It comes from keeping the commitments we make to ourselves. And that's why we want to be able to make these micro commitments with ourselves each day, scheduling those things out we want to accomplish, accomplishing those things so we can build that confidence up, and then being with a group of people that can help us strategize if things seem to be going a little off track. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you will become part of our Leadership Circles for Women and that you will join us on the upcoming webinar. I look so forward to getting the opportunity to see your face and have the opportunity to meet you. If you know another woman that would really benefit from this message or any of the shows, please share the show. That way others can be encouraged and they can have the tools that they need to succeed in their career and living out God's will. Until we meet again, remember you're only one plan away from your next promotion, and God, He's not done with you.
Hey friend, thank you for listening today. Be sure to join us next week for another great episode. If you receive value from today's show, I'd appreciate it if you would leave us a 5-star review to help others learn about the show. And if you're ready to fast track your career and increase your income, impact, and joy, then head on over to maryjervich.com and check out the masterclass that teaches you how you can advance too. I'd love to hear from you. You can connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. This and so much more can be found in the show notes. I look forward to seeing you soon.